guys! Today's video is just going to be a quick review about a palette that came out recently that a ton of people have been talking about. I actually wasn't planning on getting this palette at all. It didn't seem like something that I needed, but it did end up having a couple colors in it that I needed for a certain look, and now that I have the palette, I'm so glad I bought it because it has so many fun colors, especially with the summertime. This is a great palette for kind of like right now to be using all the bright colors. I am talking about the Anastasia Beverly Hills Artist palette today, so if you're kind of on the fence about whether or not you want this palette or, you know, you're just looking for some good reviews, be sure to keep watching and I will let you know what I think about this. So let's start with price. This palette is $30 and there are 12 shadows and an included dual-sided brush. So that makes each shadow about $2.50 a piece, which is not honestly bad, especially for like a high-end company like Anastasia Beverly Hills. That is really not a bad price at all. I was pleasantly surprised when I learned how much it cost. As far as packaging goes, I think it is adorable. It's so pretty. Since it's the artist palette, it's supposed to look like paint streaks, and it's in the colors that are in the palette, which I think is really cool. So I think that the packaging is really pretty and kind of different. It's kind of exciting to like see this in your vanity or in your drawer or wherever you keep your palettes and just kind of be like, oh wow, that's like really fun, and it makes you want to reach for it and like play with the shadows that are in it. Especially, like I said, for the summertime, this is an awesome, I don't know, it just screams like summer and excitement and bright colors, so I think that that's really fun. Now let's talk about the product. First I'm going to talk about the shadows, and then I'm going to have a little segment for kind of the brush as well. So these are the shadows that are in this palette. I will show a better like close-up view of them at some point in this video. But I think it's got a nice, I mean, for the most part, obviously, it's based off of bright colors and like the really bright stuff, but there are some other nice kind of more toned down shades, like this Dusty Rose shade. It's a really pretty, just kind of rosy colored transition shade. This one up here called Beigely, oh no, that's Buttery, sorry, this is Beigely. It's kind of a chrome, almost gold silver, I don't know, it's really strange. And then Buttery up here, like I said, is a nice like matte, light skin tone kind of color, so it's really good for like putting on your eyeshadow base and then putting that over it, you know, whatever primer you're using, and then putting Buttery over it. It's just a nice clean palette to start working with, especially when you're working with bright colors. That's a really great thing to have. Then there are the more exciting colors, obviously. This is definitely the most talked about color from this palette. It is called Fresh, and it is a super bright yellow. It is really fun to play with. I have it on the inner corner today, but you can't really see it. It's kind of worn off with other things that I've been doing, so I am going to reapply it in a little bit, but it's a really fun shade. Personally, I like to use this and then use like a yellow gold pigment over it, so I have a Maybelline Color Tattoo loose pigment in the shade Wild Gold. That's really pretty to put over it if you're looking for something to like add some shimmer, because this is a matte shade. Unicorn is another one of my favorites. It's like a periwinkle purple color. It comes off a lot more purple on the skin than it looks in here. It looks almost blue in here, but it's got a little bit of shimmer to it. Baby I'm a Star is a gorgeous like brown and gold, like it's brown but it has like a red tint to it, and it's got some gold flecks in it. It's so gorgeous. It's a really great dark crease shade if you're into like a really dark area in your crease, or if you like a really dark outer V. That is a gorgeous shade to use for that. I will be swatching all of these shadows for you, but that's going to come at the end of the video just so you guys can see it. Also, then you don't have to sit through it if you don't want to see that. But all in all, I do think that all of these shadows are really pretty. I did film a tutorial for the eye look that I'm wearing today, so as soon as that is up, I will link it down below for you guys, but I think the review is going up first. So I think this video will go up, and then once I get the other one up, I will have it linked down below for you guys. This is just a really fun look that I created with this palette because I don't know, it's sunny out finally today, and I was just like so excited to use all these bright colors, so I will have that link down below for you guys, and hopefully you will enjoy that. Now on to the brush. Now a lot of people have been saying that they absolutely love this brush, and I can see why, because of like the shape of everything. This is kind of a small, dense side. It's very dense, lots of fibers actually, which I was surprised because it's just like a little included in a palette kind of brush. Those aren't usually the best, but this side is really nice, as you can see kind of by the coloring that's left on it. I've been using it with the shade Fresh, but as you can see, it's just a small, dense, dual fiber type brush. This is really great, I have found, for getting into like the inner corner. I've been using it with that Fresh shade to put in there. It's a very nice size where you can just like dot it and you don't have to like sweep or do anything crazy. You can just like boop boop and that's it. Now the other side of the brush is the one that I was definitely the most excited about when I saw it. I didn't know what the brush was going to be like when I was just like researching the palette, but then once I got it and I saw this, I was so excited. It is kind of like a very fluffy blending brush, which I thought was going to be perfect because I don't currently have one this fluffy in my collection, and I really, really wanted one. And as you can see, it's like the perfect shape for that. It's just big and fluffy, it's not super dense, and it's just got great bristles for blending. I mean, it's just the perfect blending brush. But unfortunately, mine has a serious shedding problem. I'm gonna put a picture up here for you guys of like, what happened was I started using it to blend a shadow into my crease, and I started noticing like little hairs, and I thought at first that it was like eyebrow hairs, or you know, because like sometimes when you mess with your eyebrows, little hairs fall down, or like your eyelashes, something like that. So I thought it was just that, but then when it happened like a few more times, it's like, okay. And so I started like wiping my brush off on the paper towel, because I always keep a paper towel with me when I'm doing my makeup, just in case I need to like wipe off a brush or, you know, something like that. And I started swirling the brush around the paper towel, and it shed like crazy. It was so ridiculous. There were little, like, you can see it up there, there were little like fibers everywhere, and I was just so disappointed because I was so looking forward to this side of the brush. It seemed like such a perfect blending brush, and it really was the perfect shape and like thickness and everything. It was so perfect. It just sheds like crazy, and it's not even worth it to me. Like, it's not like there's not still bristles in the brush. Like, there's plenty of bristles in there, but it's not worth it to me to have to constantly be like picking little brush hairs out of my eye. It's not worth it to me. I would rather just go buy like a different blending brush than to try to use this. So not everybody, like I've heard other people review this palette, and not everybody has had the same problem with that brush that I have. So I'm super disappointed, but you know, it happens. I'll probably buy some from Morphe. That's the one that I'm looking at because they are fairly affordable and I'm kind of on a budget. But I feel like the Morphe ones are really nice. I've heard a lot of people say good things about them. So side note, if you have used Morphe brushes and you like them or dislike them, have anything to say about them, leave a comment down below for me because I'm definitely looking into their stuff. But anyway, yeah, the brush is like, it's okay. If that didn't shed, which not everybody's is shedding, like I've seen other tutorials and reviews and stuff like that, not everybody's brush is shedding like mine is, so if it doesn't, that would make it like an A+ blending brush. It's fabulous. But as far as like just this side, just being able to use the little dense pokey side, it's like okay for something that comes in a palette, but I was kind of having high hopes, I guess, for that other side. So the final question would obviously be, would I recommend this palette? And definitely I would, but like some of the other palettes that I reviewed, I would really only recommend this for people that are okay playing with color. Like that yellow shade there, Fresh, is not, that's not a joke. Like you have to know what you're doing with that, and you have to like want it. Or like there's this bright green shade called Anaconda. That's like a serious shade as well. These are just really bright and fun colors, and if you like that kind of thing, this is a great palette for the summertime. It's really fun to play around with color. Like this orange shade that I have on my lid today, never have I ever worn orange eyeshadows ever in my life, but I think it is so fun and pretty. But yeah, if you're not into color, I don't think that this is a must-have. It is only $30, so if you want to like play around with it and you have that kind of money lying around, go ahead and buy it. But if you're not into color, I don't think it's really an investment that you have to make. So that is the end of my review for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Artist Palette. Please let me know if you guys have this palette. Comment down below, let me know what you think about it, and tag me in any of your like reviews if you have them as well, because I'm always curious to see what you guys are thinking of the products that I'm using as well. So leave me a comment down below if you are doing that. And if you're creating new looks with this palette, I definitely want to see it, kind of get some new ideas. So hashtag TaylorBrainBeauty in all your pictures so I can see them and kind of find new things to do. I just think that that's fun because there's lots of colors in here and I want to make sure I get good use out of all of them. So that is the end of my review, guys. If you want to stay tuned for the swatches, you can. If not, this is kind of where I leave you. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! So guys, these are the shades in the top row of the palette. The first shade here is Dusty Rose. It is a gorgeous rose color transition shade. I like using it for like a little more subtle looks. It's definitely a transition shade, but you could use it for like a crease shade as well, like I said, if you want a more subtle look. This shade is called aubergine, and it is so beautiful. It's like a little bit darker, more purpley brown tone of the Dusty Rose. Like, I feel like they go very well together, but this is a shimmery shade, but it is gorgeous. I'm wearing it in my crease and outer V area today, and I will be using it in that tutorial that I have coming for you guys as well, because it's the same look. So this shade is called Anaconda, and it is a beautiful shimmering green shade. It is definitely like a more satin shade. It's not like sparkly, but it is really beautiful. This shade here is Punch Fuchsia. It is the shade that I have kind of on the outer half of my eye today. It is beautiful. Definitely, it doesn't show up as well here because I just did like a dry swatch, but what I usually do is use a little bit of like a setting spray or something like that, like a MAC Fix Plus, something like that on your brush, and then use this shade, and it comes off so vibrant and so pink. It is beautiful. This shade here is called Buttery, and that is exactly what it feels like. It is so, like, it's such a creamy shadow. It is, the quality is incredible. It doesn't show up that well on this light part of my arm, but it is definitely a nice skin tone shade for like a light skin tone. And like I said, I like using it after I put on my eyelid primer. I kind of use this to color correct, kind of set everything and make a neutral base for all the rest of my shadows. And finally, this last color here is called Blue Velvet. It does come off a little bit purple here, I think, in the camera, but it is definitely like a navy blue color. Very pretty crease color if you're looking for something in the blue range. I do like this one a lot. It is a little bit different than like the navy color that's in the Lorac. I think it's the Pro 2 palette. It is a little bit different from that. Definitely a little more purple tone than that one is. The other one's a little more like blue, almost green tone navy, but this is a very, very pretty color, and it definitely goes well with the other shadows in the palette. Alright guys, so here is the second row of shades in this palette. The first one is called Coal. It is just a regular matte black color, kind of a staple in most palettes. Usually they tend to have a matte black color just to use for like liner or various different things to darken up a look. The next one is the shade Unicorn, and I don't know if it's coming off in the camera, but the glitter in this is gorgeous. It's definitely like a matte purple shadow, but they've just added the glitter. So it's a very like interesting texture, not like the feel of it, but like the look of it, how it comes off on the skin. It is very interesting, but I think it's gorgeous. This is the shade Fresh. Obviously it is that bright matte yellow. This is really, really fun to work with, and I'm very happy with the pigmentation. This really stands out for me, this shade here. It's called Baby I'm a Star. I was talking about it earlier, how it's like, it's just the most mesmerizing color. It's so beautiful. Definitely like a purpley red toned brown, but then it's got those giant flecks of gold glitter that I just think are gorgeous, and I love using this kind of in my crease with a neutral plain shadow on the lid. This shade is called Orange You Fancy, and I think it is so fun. It is such a bright, bright shimmering orange. It is definitely not a glitter shade. It's a shimmery, like pearlized shade, but so, so pretty. Like I said, I have this on my lid today. It is really fun to work with and kind of interesting because not a lot of people are using orange shadows, and this is such a beautiful one. It's really fun to play around with. This last shade here, the camera does not do it justice. It is called Beigely, and it is the most like interesting, just strange color ever, because it comes off as silver like in the camera, or sometimes when you see it on your lid it comes off as almost silver, but it definitely has that beige, almost skin tone undertone to it. So it's, I don't know, it's just like not a duochrome. It's definitely not like a, oh, it looks something one way, oh, it looks something else in another. It's just the strangest shade. It is so beautiful. If you have the chance to swatch this in person, definitely go try it out. It is a gorgeous shade. You will fall in love with it. So guys, that was it for all the swatches. Here's one last close-up of the palette itself before we go. Just wanted to show you guys the shadows kind of up close and personal. I think that they're all so gorgeous, and this palette is definitely worth the money if you are into these bright shades. They are so much fun. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!